know later on how exactly you can win those later on. So definitely stay tuned for that. Anyways, this matchup here, DmSn on the Legion, Bi on the Hellborn. We got DmSn Parasite Ophelia going to be blind banned. And then there's Ophelia Keeper of the Forest coming out from Bi team here. So interesting a little bit. I mean, there's no Wild Soul ban, and neither team actually locking up that Wild Soul. Yeah, that's definitely the first thing that stands out to me here.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's also safe to say Bi team, I believe they've kind of been in the silver division in Han Tour. I think they were something like 57th or 56th ranked overall in Han Tour right now. So they've been playing it in a little bit, but they haven't been able to necessarily move up just yet. So it's teams like this where you kind of wonder a little bit what we're going to get of them here in a matchup like this. So that intrigues me. Now with the locks, it's already starting off kind of interesting. We do have Bubbles, the first lock, but then Magnus Behemoth going to be the response here from Bi Team. Fade Wretched Hag from DmSn, as we're now waiting on the sixth and final lock from a Team Bi. So a little bit different here.
Yeah, and again, no Wild Soul locked up just yet. We'll have to wait and see if he does get locked up here in the final lock coming out from Team Bi. But no, actually it's a Blitz. Again, kind of one of those, quote-unquote throwaway locks in the last position. So that is very curious to see. No Wild Soul, no Moon Queen locked either, nor is there a Tempest. So, in fact, there's not a single jungle in that lock pool. In that lock pool. So very, very curious already starting things off.
Yeah, again, a team like this, like we have over here on Bi. Now, DmSn, as we said, they've dabbled in Diamond a little bit. This is a quality team for sure. They have plenty of decent experience out there against even some of the best teams. This Team Bi over here, again, I believe they haven't been to gold yet. I believe they've kind of been sticking in silver and even the bronze division. What are we going to see of them? Oh, shout out to Easy Fit right there. Giving me a shout out. I'll give you one right back. This is my new favorite team, as we're talking about that. My new favorite team right here. DmSn is not my favorite team. I absolutely despise these guys. No. Kind of going with the chat here. Are we going to see some nifty strategies here from Team Bi, or is it going to be a case of, well, they're just simply not as experienced? Who knows? The banning phase, Jeraziah, Engineer Pebbles, Moon Queen, Tundra, and Tempest. So how about this? And there you go, actually. A first pick Wild Soul coming out from DmSn. We never get to see a Wild Soul make it this far here in a drafting stage. Yet sure enough, he gets first picked.
I know. It's very, very strange, but... I mean, the fact that DmSn has him now too it's pretty strong. Like, I haven't seen them run Wild Soul. In fact, I haven't seen that much of DmSn, but typically you do see that Wild Soul in that long lane simply because against short lane solos, it's just very difficult to win that, and it's a suicide hero that's one of the best. If you're up against 2 or even 3 heroes up in that short lane, you can pull the creeps constantly to get lane control. So it basically makes those 2 supports very, very useless unless you're able to quickly stop the bear from pulling, which is nearly impossible to do unless you have the perfect team makeup.
Now, Torture Glacius are going to be the first 2 picks coming out from Team Bi. Nothing too radical about that by any means. Again, kind of intrigued to see if we get some fun surprise picks here, but nothing too crazy just yet, other than the order, I guess. But Luna is the quick response coming out from DmSn. Caspe, the captain here, going to pick up that Aluna, and now going to think a little bit about their third and final pickup. So there you go, Master of Arms. I mean, talk about a hero that really has just been striving on the competitive scene lately. More and more teams are starting to use this guy. And you were even mentioning earlier on today, as Tremble, by the way, is the final pick from Team Bi, so how about that? But Master of Arms, his ultimate especially, that Red Master's Call, it is annoying to play against.
It is so annoying. It's just so strong, and teams are running MOA a lot more now. And not necessarily as that support MOA. Like, we used to see him. He never really faded the scene, but, for the longest time when he first exploded onto the scene, he was played in that short lane carry role. And he did a lot of work, actually. And then he just kind of faded away for no reason, really. And then we saw him here and there being picked up as a secondary support. And I just never really saw that much success with him in that type of situation. But when he's kind of seen his resurgence here now as that short, or that off carry, or that short lane solo, he gets that level 6 a lot faster. And by the time he hits level 6, that's when you start to see some more movement around, because that's when you see the 6-minute wards fade away and you see a lot more ganks happening. Well, at that time, you have that global defensive master's call that really, stops those ganks in their track. And it's very, very difficult to cut through in a potential gank because of that global presence that MOA has.
Yeah. But looking over to the other side, Fade is the first pick, by the way, in that lock pool. So strong first pick there, of course, coming up from DmSn. But Tremble picked up by Bye, and then they go with Behemoth, actually, in that lock pool as well, with the Bubbles to finish things off. So something tells me Team Bye may be looking to run kind of an aggressive tri-lane here, something like a Behemoth, Torturer, Glacius tri-lane, running a solo Bubbles and Tremble is something that makes sense to me. But again, kind of an odd lineup in that sense, and not something we're used to seeing nowadays in the competitive scene, especially here like Tremble and Behemoth for that matter. But hey, trying something different. Going to be interesting to see how it works.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see how it works as well. And DmSn, they're obviously going to have to do some kind of tri-lane themselves, or two different dual lanes, most likely, like a dual lane mid and a dual lane bottom. I'm guessing that the Magnus is going to get picked up here, and they'll run something like a Magnus MOA. Oh, no, they actually go for the Wretched Hag. So that maybe tells me they actually could go a jungle Wild Soul with perhaps a Suicide Wretched Hag. They could also still go a tri-lane with like Fade, Luna, and Master of Arms. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with these teams, so I don't know exactly what their style is and what they like to do. So I'm very curious as to see what they do.
Yeah, I think you might be right there at the end. Something tells me we are going to see a tri-lane as well from DmSn. Maybe they're seeing what I saw with Team By the way they finished off, and something like a Hack mid, Wild Soul top, and then you're tri-lane a Fade, a Luna, Master of Arms bottom, perhaps. I don't know though. We'll see what they ultimately do. Of course, it is their decision. It's not ours. Just about what people say. Tremble, though, now this is a hero. Keizu played it quite frequently for a little bit, in the last, there was maybe about 2 months ago was probably the last time we saw him play it, but for a good several months, he was actually known for playing it quite effectively, and of course at that time, was playing well with Vote, Gary Johnson, Stay Green, whatever you want to call them. Played it pretty well, but in the end, it just seems like Tremble's kind of one of those heroes that his ultimate and the Boris companion, isn't the most effective nowadays in the competitive scene. Really, what does Tremble bring to the table as the game goes on? He just simply seems like he's kind of just a right-click, I don't do a whole lot of stuff here for you kind of hero. So kind of a reason why he's maybe died off. Ooh, the Courier nearly dying right there, but is going to be fine. But, yeah, I mean, once again, your thoughts on Tremble, Trelf?
I think the nerf to Boris was pretty significant, and it doesn't really give him the late game potential because before the Boris slowed so much. I want to say at level 3 it slowed for like 40%. I'll have to see how the scaling. Yeah, it's 20% now at level 3, and I'm pretty sure it used to be 40%. And in the late game, you could literally just put your Boris or put your pet onto like a support hero and just right-click the support hero, and then worry about your own hero doing whatever it needs to do in that team fight.
Yeah.
And it would single-handedly take out a support hero and out of that fight. And for that reason, you could see him actually be a very strong hero in the late game. He still can do somewhat okay in the late game if built correctly, but I say that specifically if built correctly. And because I see a lot of people build specifically the Mock of Brilliance build, and I just don't think it suits him well in the late game.
Yeah, well, we are going to see a tri versus tri-lane bottom here. So again, just something was telling me that we were going to see our Legion team and DmSn go for a tri-lane setup themselves. Now, I am a little bit caught off guard. I thought it might have been more of a farming Fade and then a Master of Arms support. But no, they are going to have Master of Arms actually be kind of the farming hero down here, obviously, as you see by his build. And then that means Fade and Aluna actually going to be the support. Now, Glacius in a lot of trouble, but Behemoth, the Fissure Stun, will ultimately save Glacius, as it barely is enough of a block right there. But that was getting very close to an early Bloodlust kill coming out for the Legion team. But again, Behemoth now, where Behemoth definitely can strive, is in a tri-lane setup. How do you see this playing out, though, with this tri versus tri down here, Trout?
I don't know if Glacius really synergizes that well with Behemoth. Yeah, you have the long-range nukes, I suppose, but as far as once Glacius hits level 2 and has an Ice Imprisonment, it's kind of actually already has the Ice Imprisonment. It's kind of difficult to like have Behemoth stun and then get in position to get an Ice Imprisonment right away. I don't know, it just feels kind of awkward. And they are in the offensive tri-lane, so they're in the long lane, which means already you see the positioning factor coming into play for DmSn. It seems to just be in their favor just a little bit.
I mean, you see Glacius. He's sitting at half life right here. He's going to use a tree, but clearly Aluna making a point that she is going to keep the harassment up. So Sender here, of course, you might recognize that name. Been around the Han scene for a long time. He's the one playing this Aluna and keeping that harassment up on a Glacius. But it seems like this trial end of DmSn so far really boxing out Team Bai, at least in the early part of the game. So. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. As you got to expect maybe even the first kill to happen down here at this bottom lane, with it being a 3 versus 3. But for now, just a little bit of back and forth. So while we have a little bit of a break here at the bottom lane, middle lane matchup, you have your Tremble versus Wretched Hag. Again, kind of an interesting matchup there. Actually, by the way, back to the bottom lane, Glacius hits up trouble. Master of Arms in a lot of trouble too, though. Master of Arms is going to end up falling there first. Bloodlust kill in favor of Team Bai, as Glacius on the run, going to use a health potion. Fatal will be forced to fall back. Again, catching that kind of midway through, but seems like Zergo just got caught pushed up a little bit too far.
Got too far, and the block was substantial enough from Behemoth that he couldn't really run through it in a favorable manner. So he got caught up and just took a little bit too much auto attacks. The stuns to follow with Ice Imprisonment and the chain reaction from Torture and Glacius. And just proved to be too much here. Actually, Torture's in a little bit of trouble. Behemoth looking to do a defensive block, but it isn't needed as he doesn't get gone on.
So, middle matchup, though, as I was mentioning just before that kill there. You got Tremble versus a Hag. Right now, Tremble is actually 11-7 compared to a Hag who's 6-2. In fact, you see Tremble right there, right-clicking Wretched Hag, kind of forcing her back a little bit, and going to do quite a bit of that. So, this matchup, I mean, again, kind of something we don't see often. Do you have a favorite hero in this matchup here?
In middle matchup of Tremble versus, definitely Tremble. As you can see, he's already applying so much pressure to Bitch Slap here on the Hag. Now, you can actually go for, and he is, Bitch Slap is going for the haunt build here. Some more action in the bottom lane. That's actually Aluna who gets caught out here with the block, and actually Fade is not really able to assist too much. So this tri-lane bottom actually is doing some work, but yeah, I do give the edge to Tremble. He will never miss an auto attack because of the Impalers plus the hash hit.
Yeah, you think of like hard hitters, something like a Deadwood here in the middle lane with that log and the hatchet. Tremble kind of similar in that sense with those Impalers, as they're called, which I'm guessing is going to be leveling up right here to level 3. In fact, there you go. So, yeah, bottom lane, though, this Torture Behemoth Glacius trial lane. It is a very aggressive trial lane at that, and it's clearly proven to pay off so far. Torture is farming very well, 336 gold per minute actually, as Tremble diving on a Wretched Hag in the middle lane a little bit, getting hit and blink away, and again, really good control here coming up from Tremble when it comes to the lane. But yeah, back to this bottom lane, you got Torture, her farm pretty good, 320 gold per minute right now. Her creep farm not necessarily the best, it's only 10-1 actually. Master of Arms is winning that actually. Glacius, Fork Lightning coming up, Behemoth Fissure's not going to be happening, but not going to be enough. The chain reactions on a Master of Arms as well as the Agonizing Bonds, excuse me. But Master of Arms survives. So quick kill coming out right there on a Glacius. And finally, DmSn gets a response here at the bottom lane. But yeah, I mean, the creep farm, Zergo here on Master of Arms, especially with that kill happening, he actually has been having a pretty good time when it comes to his farm. Behemoth, by the way, no, never mind. I thought he was porting out, but yeah, Glacius porting in.
Other than him having the slight advantage in creep score, it actually does seem like Team Bai is currently winning all their lanes. They had two kills actually in the bottom lane to 1. Torture's pretty much neck and neck with Master of Arms, so in that sense they're slightly winning this lane. Mid lane is being definitely won by Tremble compared to Wretched Hag. 8-2 CS for Hag, 26-18 for Tremble, so easily winning that one. In fact, crushing that one. Yeah. Top lane we have Wild Soul 17-9 against the Bubbles who's 20-9. So right now they're currently actually winning all their lanes. Yeah,
it's actually Team Bai definitely in arguably a pretty good spot here early on. I mean, the fact that Tremble is level 6 and Boris is out. Where is Boris, by the way? It looks like, he is at the bottom lane. So trying to be of assistance down here, and I wonder if the Legion team maybe saw Boris come down here, while they're playing a little bit more passive. Aluna going to cut through the trees with a power throw. They are, of course, having a pull happen here. It's only on the single stack of the couple of Wild Hunters, but Master of Arms just sitting back and farming up. In the meantime, Behemoth throwing out a Fissure Stun. Aluna's in some trouble. The Creep's doing a lot of damage to her. In comes the Tundra Blast and a couple final auto attacks, and Hoffmeister there on the Tremble assisting with the Boris as well. So good movement coming out here once again from Team Bai, and you look at the overall stats, they're actually up 2,500 gold and about 1,400 experience here early on. So again, DmSn no doubt falling behind here, to say the least. You do have Tremble, who's having a very good time here in this middle lane.
It's really scary actually how well he's doing. Like, I will say Wretched Hag does have the potential to beat a Tremble if he's very, very aggressive, but you have to do it early on. Like, you basically just have to sit in those mounds and auto-attack the Tremble, and just spam those level 1 haunts at the time. He's actually not leveling up haunt to level 3, and I think that's okay. Just seeing how he's not really getting too much CS, he's going to need that Sonar Scream up so that he can get those last hits. He's just simply not able to get any. Tremble's just completely shutting Bitch Slap down here in the mid lane.
Yeah, he is. 39 and 25 and counting here for Hoffmeister. Playing this Tremble again. So again, Bitch slapped on the Hag, as you talked about, doing her best a little bit, but is it even a little bit too late now to try to be ultra aggressive here? Tremble's gonna sit back in the meantime here on the mound, but putting in some auto attacks. Boris is still at the bottom lane, I'm guessing, as actually we do see some assistance here as the Behemoth's done not the greatest, unfortunately. It blocked Glacius and ultimately had Fade on the other side, so Fade is able to survive. Glacius goes down. Master of Arms is chasing, has that Fork Lightning up, gonna use it right there. Behemoth is he in the one in trouble. I believe he might be fine, not gonna be enough for the kill with the auto attack, and out comes the health potion. Power throw from Luda maybe. Nope, not even going to use. She was just too far away. So good kill on a Glacius though. And again, the bottom lane, the try versus try, continues to have some pretty good action coming out. It's kind of 3 versus 4 though when you think about it. Obviously with Boris being down here, and I'm sure pretty good assistance too. But
well, Tremble actually just died in the mid lane to Hag.
Wow.
Here comes Tremble. Actually, the blink was coming out. But the fast movement speed and the Impaler slowing Hag down so much, and actually Hag does get taken out. Meantime, action all around as Az gets taken out here by Zergo, playing the Master of Arms. So Torture dies the first time now.
I totally didn't even see that. The fact that Hoffmeister actually died there in the middle lane. It looks like the Bat Blast was using everything from Wretched Hag, happened to catch him, but in the end, as we did see, Tremble comes back and just immediately tears through Wretched Hag. So kind of a quick response. Now, I am kind of curious. He actually chose not to finish his Ghost Marchers here. He had the Punch Dagger, but then he actually just purchased a Life Tube, and he's still not finishing the Ghost Marchers. So I kind of wonder, the thinking behind that, if he just values that Helm of the Black Legion a little bit sooner now, or if he just maybe is waiting. But it seems like at this rate, he is actually saving up for the Beast Heart to finish up the helmet. Oh, never mind. As soon as I say that, another Punch Dagger is purchased. And so he should have Ghost Marchers being delivered at least. So he'll be able to take advantage of that. And then, hey, there's this top lane matchup we haven't really touched on too much. I mean, for good reason. It's Bubbles versus a Wild Soul. But what is going on up here? Bubbles 37 and 9. Wild Soul 36 and 12. So Mirage Hunter on Wild Soul. He is having a fairly good time, to say the least. Behemoth back at the bottom lane. He's in trouble. A lot of the abilities coming together, and it will be a kill for the Legion team. However, Fade is in some trouble now. Going to barely survive. It looks like mana battery at the last second. The last auto attack. No, it is going to be enough. The agonizing bombs coming out from Torture, guaranteeing the kill. There is a port in from Bubbles, actually, and I think the Legion team knows something up. Aluna's going to try to run away. Can she actually juke here? No. Sender will fall. Double tap coming up for Az on the Torturer. And now they're going to dive the tower, perhaps. In comes the Shell Serve. No Kelpa. There's the Kelpa. It's not going to see on top of that. Zergo being dove out big time. A couple more auto attacks should do him in, but he's going to barely survive. The offensive Master's call coming out. Bubbles trying to chase, but no. Master of Arms will survive as a couple of ports come in, but I think that's going to be the end. Wow. Not able to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, the offensive Master's call ended up working out for him because it gave him the movement speed to run away, but I still see so many people do this as, like, using the offensive Master's Call for a defensive purpose. Like, I feel like you could have done the same thing. Oh, here, top lane, actually. Wild Soul's in a lot of trouble with the port coming out from Tremble onto the mound. He's auto-attacking. He's auto-attacking people. Look at how damn tanky that guy is. He's actually going to get the port out. Is he going to get it? I think he is. Yeah. Wild Soul is just way too tanky early on. You're going to get a kill on the bear most likely, as he does get an extra 100 gold for that. But Wild Soul early on with basically no items is damn tanky.
Yeah, again, I mean, Tremble, even with those maxed out Impalers, his damage output, it's just not nearly enough to finish off the Wild Soul right there. As we saw, as he once again is just so damn tanky. Burning Shadow's a great line, sun hitting both. Bat Blast on top of that. Both Behemoth and Glacius will fall. Now Torture in some trouble. The charge shot will hit him, actually. So Master of Arms chasing. Wretched Hag also assistance. The Fade gets the offensive Master's call. Tries to go for a blind Burning Shadows there, but not going to be enough. So trying to do some coordination with that ultimate. But in the end, Torture will survive. But still, the 2 kills initially coming out for DmSn. No doubt working out for them. So this is definitely continuing to be a fairly aggressive game. So good to see that between these two teams. Right now a 7-6 hero kill advantage. But the gold lead still does remain in favor of the Hellborn side. In fact, Bubbles catching Wretched Hag right here. Kelfield coming out. Wretched Hag going to be forced to take the stun. And she dies with the auto attack to Hoffmeister right there, who's actually now 350 gold per minute. and does have a helmet of the Black Legion very close to being finished as well.
Yeah, and they're starting out pretty well here, but the thing you got to worry about if your team buy is that you don't really have that much late game. We speculated how much of a presence can Tremble have in the late game, and I still don't think very much. I think he's very good right now. Like right about now is the time that he shines the most.
Yeah.
The early game to the mid game. And he's already got 2 kills under his belt, the top GPM in the game. And I think that as long as Team Buy is able to start pushing and fighting together, basically quote-unquote pub training, where they just start, staying together close by, doing some 4-man ganks, and actually, yet again, a top lane gank onto the Wild Soul, poured up by Tremble. Is the kill filled up to cancel any kind of TP or anything like that? It's not up just yet, but here comes the resistance of Wretched Hag. He's pummeling Autotex. There's the defensive Master's Call to keep Wild Soul alive just a little bit longer, and Tango Proc will give him the kill right before he dies. Wretched Hag in a little bit of trouble as well. In the meantime, Torture gets a kill on the center in the bottom lane. Action all around with 17 kills already in 12 minutes.
Yeah, again, it's just definitely continuing to be that way. I look at that Wild Soul. If he had a homecoming zone right there, he could have easily just TP'd, as there was no kill put up, as you mentioned. But it may have been for the better. I mean, he did get a kill first before he died, so I guess that's arguable. But in the end, I mean, once again, he showed how damn tanky he is. And if anything, it bought a lot of time for Wretched Hag to come in and help clean up there. So kind of that one-for-one exchange at the top lane. But overall, I mean, Team Buy, so despite them not having perhaps a stronger late game presence, they do have a 2,500 goalie, 2,100 experience lane. And you talked about specifically Tremble, how this is really his shining moment. He's level 11 now, the first one by far to hit that. He's 2 levels higher than anyone else. Oh, this early on, that's pretty good. And the farm that he has is nearing 400 gold per minute, actually. It's up to about 380. So how much is Team Buy going to be able to make of that? Now, Bubbles at the bottom lane. He's in trouble. Fade coming in right here. Burning Shadows perhaps. There's the open. Doesn't even open with the auto attack. Just wanted a guaranteed stun. Behemoth Fissure, not going to matter. Down he goes. Torture trying to follow this up. Charge shot, though, connecting. There's a forked lightning. And Torture will also fall. So just too many numbers here for DmSn, as Wretched Hag also doing plenty of work. But in the meantime, Tremble will take out that middle tower while that happens.
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter. The kills, I feel like, right there are more important and beneficial. You can always get that tower in mid. I feel like they need to be fighting as a team, and if you're going to have Tremble put pressure on the tower, don't try to pick a fight, or don't try to like auto-attacking that counter ward right there with Bubbles. I'm pretty sure he saw Vision of Fade too at the last second, because they had a counter ward of their own.
Yeah.
That I think saw just a little snippet of Fade right there. Meantime, Mirage Hunter gets a kill in the top lane.
Here we go again. He has a TP, and look at that. He uses it, but the Kelp field going to come out right there, so he was kind of banking that there was going to be no Kelp field. And this time, I believe he should fall. Yes, finally they kill Wild Soul up here with little to no resistance. You do see a Luna and Fade porting in, but not able to get there in time. Now, the Master's Call was on cooldown, actually, and you got to wonder if a Red Master's Call came out right there, maybe that would have bought enough time for Luna and Fade to do something. But Master of Arms just, kind of busy here at the bottom side, and you just got to make sure you're on top of that as far as the communication goes. Perhaps missing out on an opportunity right there. But again, Tremble, he continues to have a very good start. I kind of want, actually, what did he buy? Ooh, Soul's Bulwark, actually. So, when we did see Tremble specifically from KZoo, as hold that thought for a second, actually, bottom lane, we're going to have a fight down here. Zergo being dove on by Behemoth. Boards are coming in. The tower barely dead. Yes, it will fall, but Glacius already going down. Behemoth's on blocking them, but Wretched Hag says, I don't give a shit about your Fissure Stone. I'm going to blink right over it. But Torture making the return. No, Wretched Hag barely surviving, picks up the double tap, and Behemoth also got picked off. So sure, they got a tower, but at what cost? Tremble, though, well, once again, this is a one-man team here at this rate. I mean, Tremble just doing plenty of work, but
I don't like the decision right there of Torture to use the Agonizing Bonds over the chain reaction when trying to man up with Torture, with Wretched Hag. And the reason is they do literally the exact same damage, 260, except one of them stuns for 2 seconds and the other one doesn't. So actually action here in the bottom lane. There comes Tremble being active this entire game. Hoffmeister playing a really good Tremble. I love the way he's built it too. Pursuing now the Fade. Burning Shadows is on cooldown for one more second. He got the slow with Impalers though. A stun coming out from Behemoth in a second. Not even needed. So an onslaught streak here for the Tremble. He's 6-1. He's 500 GPM. And you were asking about his build with the Soul's Bulwark. When I used to play Tremble too a lot, this is the exact build I would go. I would do this, the Ghost Marchers, the Helm of the Black Legion into the Soul's Bulwark, And then after that, we get something like a Hellflower. We'll have to wait and see what he does, but I love the build that he has so far.
Yeah, and clearly it's working. Again, you know, when we've seen Tremble in the past, and I've always been the comment when we happen to see him of, this is the kind of Tremble play you love to see, and this is the one that can work, as we keep referring to, how you need to be aggressive early on. You're not a static farming hero. You're not a just sit in your lane and just farm, try to outcarry. You are a hero that can take advantage of that Boris, but also yourself, and, you know, be able to roam early, push towers early on. We're seeing that here from Hoffmeister, so I got to give him some credit as far as his Tremble play for sure. He's going to have the haste stream back to base,
and he's doing it both. He has the top CS in the game and top hero kills. So not only is he CSing, but he's also placed these mounts quite around the map. He's got one up top, 2 in mid, 1 in base, and 1 in the enemy jungle. So he can be anywhere at any given notice.
Yep. And actually, oh, wow.
Oh, goodbye, Torture.
Torture's like, no, I don't. Bubbles will port in right there, so the tower does get killed right there, but Wretched Hag in some trouble. Defensive Master's Call coming out. Tremble will be locked up, but again, he's pretty damn tanky right now. Dark Swarm not up, unfortunately, so he's going to take even more damage. He's going to be frozen in place. Glacier's trying to assist. He gets one kill first. He's still barely left. The Dark Swarm doing work, but Wretched Hag will finish him off with the Blink Sonar Screen. Bubbles a shell support, trying to get a counter kill on Wretched Hag, but now Bubbles needs to be careful. It doesn't have a Song of Sea for 2 seconds. They're going to go balls to the wall right here. Can Bubbles get in range? Oh, it's a game of craftiness. No! The power throw from behind gets the kill. And in the end, DmSn coming out pretty big there, it looks like, after that fight. So obviously Tremble, I think it's a case of Tremble, you know, he just got there. He didn't have the team support in time, and DmSn took advantage.
Well,
and good for them.
At the very beginning of that fight, too, Torture just got disintegrated. And they needed every member of their team right there right away. And this is not a team where you want to split push and farm. You need to be active. You need to start playing, have every member of your team move around the map and sit behind people and just try to set kills up. Because you're facing up against Wretched Hag, an MOA, a Wild Soul, a Fade as well to get some possible ganks as you get towards the late game. It's just, you do not want to take this late. You want to be active and you want to help your team out. So they just simply needed more people there faster.
Looking at some item builds here, Boo actually going to fall right there, but Wild Soul will just spawn another one and go back into the Ancients. I believe I did see the Sword of the High purchased on Wild Soul, so I'm pretty sure he just needs the pattern now. Master of Arms actually going in plenty of build-up items on top of the Mighty Blade, so it looks like he could possibly go in for a first item Shrunken even. Then you have an Energizer picked up on a Luna actually, so some good support items coming out there. And then actually Wretched Hag, she's definitely the big focus here. She is the top farm in the team currently, about 314 gold per minute. She does have a Arcana on top of the Grave Locket picked up. Meanwhile, Tremble once again initiating himself, getting the support from Bubbles. Now he's level 11. Defensive Master's Call going to be used right there. And now Tremble needs to be careful himself. Perhaps Energizer coming out, but no, Master of Arms will fall. And what am I saying? Tremble is just fine. Nice Behemoth finish done right there, but Wretched Hag will be able to blink. And if anything, it might help her get away. Yes, it will, as they're not able to follow it up in time. Meanwhile, up here, Fade is actually invis, but he was thinking about making something happen. But the team coming together now. Are they going to push the secondary tower or go elsewhere? It looks like it is going to be the first option. Pushing the tower as Boris will tank the damage. Going to fall right here, though. So needs to be careful about that. But Wretched Hag and Luna, they're ready to defend. Master of Arms up in about 10 seconds here. We'll see if DmSn wants to make a big play here, perhaps in vulnerability port-ins. No, they are not. The tower will fall. And Team Buy will fall back themselves, or will they actually? They're going to go in right here. Fade's going to take a stun. He hits the Burning Shadows, but he's in some trouble. Shell Surf will connect. And Easy Fit playing that Bubbles gets the kill, but now he's in trouble. In comes Wretched Hag. Bitch trying to pick up a kill himself. He does have a Battle Blast ready to go. Will he? No, it went out, but Bubbles still falls. Master of Arms joins the party. Glacius going down to the Sonar Scream. And now you have Behemoth and Torture running away. Tremble's already been ported to the top lane, by the way, as he kills Boo Boo in there, but they still chase. Behemoth falls, as that's how it will finish. So again, the action in this game, we already have 35 hero kills, 20 minutes in, but going back and forth.
Yeah, tons of action so far, and I do say too that like I feel like this Hellborn team, like I love their lineup. They have lots of long-range spam between Bubbles, Behemoth, and Torture. But they really need some more team fight things. Like Tremble's build is perfect. Like it's awesome. He's kind of like their physical damage dealer right now, but they need some more team fight support items. Like I really would hope to see, I mean, Push Book is great on Torture, but I would have preferred to see an Astrolabe. Something that's going to give them more sustainability in these team fights, because pretty much it's like you get like 1 or 2 nukes from MOA and a Luna, and then maybe Hag blinking and Sonar Screaming and then kind of running away. And then you kind of just simply have to back up if you're a Hellborn team. You have no sustainability in team fights except for maybe the Tremble, but that's about it. So Push Book is good, but again, they're really going to need an Astrolabe, and no one is in the works for that right now. And so it's going to be hard kind of coming into these team fights. Now especially, you know, Wild Soul just picked up his Mock of Brilliance. So talk about something that's going to dwindle you down slowly before you can actually push the base.
Yeah, that's definitely just one of those items where you look at it, it's like, oh, crap, now he finally has that. Now we're going to have to deal with it. Tremble will harass Wretched Hag out of the lane here up top. So he's got to be fairly close to level 16, but he does go the Shield Breaker, by the way. He actually finished that. I was kind of curious if the Warhammer was going to turn into a Shrunken or a Shield Breaker, and sure enough, it is the SB route. So you made the mention of maybe something like a Hellflower.
This is fine too.
Shield Breaker, you fine
like
with?
Cutting through the armor of Wild Soul, and he is tanky with that ultimate, but this is going to make it a lot easier to actually get him down. I like the Hellflower because I think it does the same thing. Like it gives you the 20% extra damage onto them. Not to mention it will lock down Wretched Hag to stop her from blinking.
Yeah.
So but I still think Shield Breaker's fine. But the biggest thing is the supports don't have really any items. Like Torture is sitting at 270 gold per minute, but has died 4 times still, so should be much higher than that. And they just don't have any way to sustain in these team fights.
There's a Portal Key on Bubble, so that will help. But, I mean, Behemoth, I think, is the big thing, too. He actually just hit level 6, but, you know, he ain't getting any farm, really, in that Portal Key. Not going to be coming up here in the near future. Burning Shadows maybe from Fade to finish off Glacius. Not necessary. Bat Blast used right there by Bitch Slapped to guarantee the kill. But now Fade, he's scouting things out. This Behemoth is Torture. Torture coming in with the stun. Wretched Hag going to fall right here as Tremble came in with a flank. Bursted him down. There's that Calfit on top of the finisher stun. Fade realizing she's also going to fall. Meanwhile, up here, Tremble chasing a Luna. The Energizer coming out, but the Shell Surf will connect it. Just like that, 3 players are dead on the side from another dimension. And now we're going to see a big push coming out from Team Buy. Tremble goes right for the tower. He doesn't care if he's tanking it. He's going to spawn Boris right here as well. And this tower could very likely fall. Actually, Tremble going to port right here to back to, where did he
go?
Nope,
he stopped
he stopped it. Okay, and he took a lot of damage, though. Tower will fall in the end, but kind of an odd decision there by Tremble. Bottom tower was pushed in, though, by Wild, so I kind of wonder if he's thinking about reacting to that.
Yeah.
But not.
You know, one of the great things about Tremble, too, in this metagame, and people forget, and I forget myself, is as Hoffmeister is showing here, you can block Ancients constantly with those mounds.
True.
And you can say that there's something you can do about it by going over there and trying to kill it and attack it, but it can just be placed again by Boris. It doesn't even have to be placed by your hero. Similar to like a Pharaoh Rock, using the Tremendous Soul every single minute. That one's probably the worst because that is just completely uncounterable.
Yeah.
But this takes a little bit more in effort. But it's a very good tool to stop those Ancients from being farmed. I was going to mention one other thing, and it slipped my mind. But yeah.
Master of Arms, he has 22. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. But Master of Arms, he could have saved Bitch Slapped right there. He had the ultimate up, and it would have definitely gave him enough time to get that blink up again. So kind of missing out on a save right there. But
yeah. Again, it's as powerful and as annoying that can be to play against. At the same time, you have to have experience playing the hero yourself because that's not one of those things you're especially in the mindset of carry players. Playing this role a lot lately in the Master of Arms, where it's more focused on farming and maybe setting up kills and whatnot. You're not necessarily used to having that support tool. Master of Arms and again, that's what helps make him such a great hero, is the utility that he has for sure. But maybe you're not used to taking advantage of spells like that, so you just got to keep that in mind when you're playing a hero like Master of Arms. But again, he has plenty of gold saved up. It looks like he is very likely just going for that first item, Shrunken Head here, though. What was I? Yeah, Behemoth actually, he does all of a sudden have about 1,200 gold saved up. So Behemoth is getting closer to the Portal Key. And again, it's been a long time, honestly, since we've seen a Behemoth. And I am a little bit disappointed at that because he no doubt has one of the most epic ultimate initiations in the game when you see a Behemoth jump in and Shockwave and whatnot. But well, it's possible he could get that Portal Key at this rate and just maybe get him some farm here and have it picked up. Now, he is still a little bit off of level 11 by any means, but still, it can accomplish quite a bit. Bottom lane, we have Tremble porting in. They're going to try to collapse right here, it almost looks like. Tremble coming in, he's level 17, but an offensive Master's Call were used right there on Master of Arms. He's realizing he's in a troublesome spot. He's going to go for the port out, though, and I believe he will be fine. So, Team Buy trying to keep up the aggressive play at the bottom here. Not going to happen, but Tremble actually porting to the top lane, and he'll continue to farm up here. He does have level 3 Shield Breaker finished, by the way. Yeah. 1,700 gold saved up.
Yeah, that was good movement by Zerago on the Master of Arms. Some good juking and got away safely. Wretched Hag now has her Hellflower, so that's going to be very effective, especially in taking down the Tremble. one of the items that you need when you think that you look at a hero and like, wow, they're really, really tanky, like a Zephyr in particular.
Yeah.
They're tanky. We can't take him down. A Hellflower really solves that problem.
Yeah, it's again just with the increased damage and the fact that if they happen to have an item like a Shrunken Head or whatever, wouldn't be able to use it. But here we go. Speaking of the Hellflowers apply, look at the burst damage coming. Also Tremble's tanky, but just as Zero was referring to, Tralf, even with the Hellflower, I mean he's just not tanky enough, especially with the Hellflower. So he falls right there as pretty much a 3-man gank. I guess kind of a 4-man as Aluna was also assisting with it. And actually Master of Arms and Master's Call was used too. So in a sense, everyone was there to help kill Tremble. And they're going to now push this top lane. And obviously with Team Ba right now, if you kill Tremble, you can pretty much guarantee at least one tower kill, if not multiple. Because this team, they cannot fight without him, especially the rate this game is going at here. So they need that Tremble. Shrunken Head is going to be finished on Master of Arms. So going more of, again, kind of a defensive-minded build in that sense. Are you fine with that?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the team, or the hero composition for the Hellborn team, and basically all they have, except for Tremble, is just a bunch of magic damage and things to stun and slow you. If you get rid of that, what can they do to you? Pretty much nothing, except for, again, Tremble. But that's relying on one hero. So, and as you're pulling up the GPM, it's basically a one-man show for the Hellborn team.
It's been that way,
and it's a hero that, like, yeah, he's awesome, and he's done perfectly this entire game, with the exception of a couple pickups onto him. But other than that, he's done very, very well for his team. But he cannot carry a game. We just simply can't do it, especially not against like the team comp from Legion. I mean, I already said it before, but Wild Soul, Wretched Hag, Master of Arms, you will not outcarry this yourself.
I mean, this is a pretty good team fight team here on the Hellborn side, but they're just not getting enough farm on the hero. Now, Torturer's farm isn't horrible by any means. He has about 285 gold per minute. You mentioned that how the tablet he went first and how you would have rather seen what was it?
An Astrolabe.
The Astrolabe on him, yeah. So far, again, kind of looking at that whole team by presence. But, and again, that Portal Key on Behemoth is no doubt going to be a big key. But the fact that he's probably not going to be a level 11 here for a while is the unfortunate thing. Glacius, uh-oh, where did that come from? He freezes the pair, actually, and he kills it right off the bat. So that actually worked out pretty well for Glacius right there. Believe it or not, despite the Invis Wild Soul kind of being right on top of him. So able to survive through that. But yeah, keep looking back at Behemoth. I mean, he's still a little bit off of it, but he's trying. 1,700 gold now saved up, so gonna have that portal key. There's an Arcana picked up on Bubbles, and Tremble must have bought something. I feel like he's had the level 3 Shieldbreaker now for a little bit. He only has 700 gold. He's farming 522 gold per minute. I feel like he should have something else, but maybe not just yet. We'll see what he goes for next, now that he's got the Shieldbreaker finished. Maybe a Shrunken Head himself, too, you could argue, would be a pretty good investment for Tremble here.
Yeah, I don't think he has to get that, though. I think you're going to really have to rely on putting out some damage. I don't know. It's just, again, I think Tremble, his build is perfect and what he's been doing, but just the team composition as a whole, it's starting to get to that point where it's just a little bit too late, honestly. And they didn't do enough grouping up and pushing early on into the base. And they just simply don't have the items for it, or even the levels. Behemoth's Blink is very, very late. It needs to be much earlier for a team composition, at least like this.
Yeah. Yeah, when Behemoth is your secondary support, in a sense. I mean, if he's your first support, which would be very rare in the first place, but maybe you could argue that. But yeah, he's been their secondary support. They ran a very aggressive trial lane, so sure, Torture was the focus farm, but you really want to try to get that farm onto Behemoth. Then Behemoth needs to be careful here, because there's a Mocker Brilliance Boo Boo, and actually the power throw coming through. Behemoth is going to fall. That's unfortunate, but exactly what I was talking about. Bat Blast. Oh, the Bat Blast just missed right there. That was lining up beautifully, but it was one of those cases. It was an all or nothing. Ended up getting nothing. Kelfo going to be used very defensively. Despite that, though, Glacius gets picked off. So this Conqueror attempt just absolutely falling apart here for Team Bai. And actually, Trembo will also fall back because he takes a Hellfire at the last second. But clearly, that was a fight for Team Bai that, well, that just didn't work out too well.
And Tremble's actually dangerously low right now. I don't know if DmSn knows that or if they want to go check that out, but that would get sniped in a matter of seconds.
You meant Conqueror.
Did I say what I said?
You said Tremble.
Oh.
I was like, Tremble's?
Yeah, you kill Tremble, you get a token of life.
In this game, it wouldn't be surprising.
Yep, they're going to find Conqueror. Look at that. It's so low for them, too. Now, Behemoth is sitting over here. No portal key still yet for him, but he actually could be in a lot of trouble.
Needs to be careful. Luna going to scout it out. Does have a rev here. Maybe she'll use it. But actually, from another dimension, a little bit scared. They didn't really commit to it too much, and they end up falling back here. So Boo Boo is nearly dead, but even so, there's a spawn ready to go. We do see it jumping right here. Bubbles in the background. Song of the scene issue, but he's going to be Hellfire there. The Entangle and a Torture in the meantime. Bubbles trying to stay alive with the takeover. No, the Power Throw finishing him off. Tremble now going for Fade, but even if you kill Fade, you know, what are you accomplishing? Fade's able to get away, though. They're kiting Tremble very well right here. Burning Shadows coming out. In the meantime, his teammates are being picked off one by one. Aluna is going to fall here, but now Tremble's in some trouble. Hatcher coming up for Zergo. While this is all happening once again, you see the kiting going on here. Fade staying alive. And the Mock of Brilliance just doing way too much damage. Kongor is now going to be stolen. A Genocide coming up from DmSn. I think game one is looking a little bit more secure for them now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if you saw in the background, but in the backfield, Fade jumped in and Burning Shadows 3 different heroes. And it was like an extremely good initiation for them. And ultimately, I think set them up for a very, very good team fight. So big props and big plays for Caspe.
Yeah, indeed. Don't know if I got that on camera, but nonetheless, shout out to Caspe there for that. As by the way, his hero kill stats, not the sexiest by any means, but he's 0-5 and 14. So he's being involved in kills, no doubt. Granted, they have 29 of them. Jeez. Again, 29 to 19 here in hero kills. 32 minutes in. I will say that is one of several benefits for sure. But you know, of casting teams that may not be the top tier diamond by any means, it does usually tend to be a lot more action oriented in games, and we kind of saw that here. But obviously, game number 1 over. Deciding to concede that one, you can't blame them. It was just a little bit too much there in the end. So I get the seal of approval. A little bit too much in the end there for Team Buy. Granted, Hofmeister there on Tremble. He played it pretty well.
He did.
Not able to carry the team, though.
Yeah, he did play it very well, but again, it was just the supports couldn't play as much of a role as they really needed to in that game. And specifically, the item pickups that needed to have happen was the Astrolabe. That's a team fight item that your supports can greatly benefit because, you know, healing, is it 200 heal? It's either 200 or 250, but either way, that amount of heal coming out for a support that has 800 HP has a lot greater effect than your Tremble that has 1600. So that's why they really needed those team fight items. And maybe next time they'll go for those with it. Because they did actually have a very good team lineup. They didn't have the strongest late game. They just needed to play it a little bit better for the team matchup or team composition that they had.
Yeah, would have loved to see the portal key too on Behemoth. Of course, you know, he is one of those heroes that you need to somehow get him a portal key sooner than later. But in the end, didn't happen. DmSn, they will take the first game, but a best of the 3 here. So we'll see if Team Buy has a response in game number 2, or if DmSn going to sweep up the series 2-0. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break as always here, get the next replay loaded up, and into game number 2. So sit tight. Next game coming up shortly.